Diorang punya ikimei tu setiap pukul apa? Sebab kita akan jaga sampai pukul 1 tau. Dah. Patut dah masuk dah. Dan sepatutnya opening je, kita tak jaga sampai ICP semua tu. So, bila kita dah end tu, diorang boleh guna link tu. But now, disebabkan kita dah jaga sampai pukul 1, diorang tak boleh guna link tu. Dah. Allah semuanya.
Macam mana kalau nak standby kalau internet
Huh? Huh? Test one. Testing mic 1 2. Ada. Test mic 1 2. Slow.
Kau on yang on off. Mute, tak mute.
Testing mic 1 2. Test mic. Testing mic 1 2 3 4 5 6. Testing mic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Ni dah cak? Yes. Test mic 1 2. Tu bunyi kau ni tu. Test. Kan kau? Oh. Testing mic. Test. Ada go. Testing mic 1 2. 1 2. 1 2. Testing mic 1 2. Ada
This is a safety announcement for emergency evacuation. If you hear emergency fire alarm,
The engineering community rose to the occasion, driven by the need to adapt. Slowly, a transformation began, a glimpse of a new era where innovation and resilience intersected. Hybrid solutions emerged as the conduit for connection, bridging gaps between physical and virtual realms.
Test mic. MC. The main objective of organizing this Congress to provide national technical. MC tengah buat split. Boleh, keluar dia lah.
Full Wilson. Sekarang. Allah. Sekejap Okey. Sekejap. Bahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Macam tu? Okay. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Remain stand for the national anthem and Iium song.
Expand the culture of Iium is to realize the meaning of Ramadan lil Alamin. Together we make the world a better place forever. Expand the culture of Iium.
Thank you, and please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be showing our safety video and would like the next few minutes of your complete attention. Thank you.
Safety announcement for emergency evacuation. Did you hear emergency fire alarm?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President Iium. Yang berbahagia Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector Iium. Professor Dr. Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deputy Rector, Academic and Internationalization, Iium. Associate Professor Dr. Sani Izan Ihsan, Dean, Kuliah of Engineering, Chairman of the Iium Engineering Congress. Distinguished keynote speakers, sponsor, paper presenters, and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to welcome all distinguished guests and participants to the IIUM Engineering Congress 2023 organized by the Kuliah of Engineering, International Islamic University, Malaysia. Okay. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to begin the ceremony, I now have the pleasure of respectfully inviting Professor Dr. Nasruddin Ahmad Kabashi from the Department of Chemical Engineering and Sustainability, Kuliah of Engineering, to recite Quranic verses from Surah An-Nahl from verse 1 until 15. فليتفضل مشكورا.
Testing 1, 2, 3, testing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a housekeeping announcement. Our program will start in a short while, and I wish to politely remind you on the following. All KMM members are to be ready outside the hall for the photography session with the VIPs. Please ensure your mobile phones are switched to silent mode throughout the event. Please sit in the seats in front, and to minimize your movement in and out of the hall, as well as lower your voices to avoid any disruptions. Please stand upon the arrival of our VIPs and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem, Negaraku, and the Iium song, Leading the Way. We thank you for your cooperation. Our program will start in a short while. And I wish to politely remind all of you on the following. All KMM members are to be ready outside the hall for the photography session. Please ensure your mobile phones are switched to silent mode throughout the event. Please fill in the seats in front and to minimize your movement in and out of the hall, as well as to lower your voices to avoid any disruptions. Please stand upon the arrivals of our VIPs and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem Negaraku and Iium song leading the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated and fill in the front rows.
Kamera dia apa?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a housekeeping announcement. Our program will start in a short while, and I wish to politely remind you on the following. Please ensure your mobile phones are switched to silent mode throughout the event. Please fill in the seats in front and to minimize your movement in and out of the hall, as well as to lower your voices to avoid any disruptions. Please stand upon the arrivals of our VIPs and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem Negaraku and the Iium song leading the way. We thank you for your cooperation. Announcing the arrival of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. The national anthem and Iium song.
Let's lead the way, lighten the future, share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason shall excel, shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we, the Khalifa, we will fulfill the Amanah. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. Iium is to realize the meaning of Rahmatan lil Alamin. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. Iium is to realize the meaning of mercy to all the world, for all mankind.
Thank you, and please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be showing our safety video and would like the next few minutes of your complete attention. Thank you.
Announcement for emergency evacuation. If you hear emergency fire alarm, stay calm and pay attention to instructions given by our personnel or announcements. Follow evacuation routes and exit signs. Avoid running, as it can lead to accidents or panic among others. Avoid using elevators as they may malfunction or become unsafe. Use stairs. Go to the assembly area No. 5. Stay informed. Report any injury or missing person if any. The assembly area No. 5 is located at the parking lot in front of E4 building. Do not return to the affected area until you have been given the all clear. Thank you for listening. Please follow these rules to keep you safe. Courtesy reminder from HSE Committee KOE.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yang berbahagia, Tan Sri Samsudin Usman, Presiden Iium. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector Iium. Professor Dr. Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deputy Rector Academic and Internationalization, Iium. Associate Professor Dr. Sani Izan Ihsan, Dean Kuliah of Engineering, come Chairman of the Iium Engineering Congress 2023. Distinguished keynote speakers, sponsor, paper presenters, and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to welcome all distinguished guests and participants to the Iium Engineering Congress 2023, organized by the Kuliah of Engineering International Islamic University, Malaysia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to begin the ceremony, I now have the pleasure of respectfully inviting Professor Dr. Nasiruddin Ahmad Kabashi from the Department of Chemical Engineering and Sustainability, Kuliah of Engineering, to recite Quranic verses from Surah An-Nahl from verse 1 until 15. Falyatafaddal mashkura.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أتى أمر الله فلا تستعجلوه سبحانه وتعالى عما يشركون ينزل الملائكة بالروح من أمره على من يشاء من عباده أن أنذروا أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاتقون خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق تعالى عما يشركون خلق الإنسان من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين والأنعام خلقها لكم فيها دفء ومنافع ومنها تأكلون ولكم فيها جمال حين تريحون وحين تسرحون وتحملوا أثقالكم إلى بلد لم تكونوا بالغيه إلا بشق الأنفس إن ربكم لرؤوف رحيم والخيل والبغال والحمير لتركبوها وزينة ويخلق ما لا تعلمون وعلى الله قصد السبيل ومنها جائر ولو شاء لهداكم أجمعين هو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء لكم منه شراب ومنه شجر فيه تسيمون ينبت لكم به الزرع والزيتون والنخيل والأعناب ومن كل الثمرات إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يتفكرون وسخر لكم الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون وما ذرأ لكم في الأرض مختلفا ألوانه إن في ذلك لآية لقوم يذكرون وهو الذي سخر البحر لتأكلوا منه لحما طريا وتستخرجوا منه حلية تلبسونها وترى الفلك مواخر فيه ولتبتغوا من فضله ولعلكم تشكرون وألقى في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بكم وأنهارا وسبلا لعلكم تهتدون آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم.
Thank you, Jazakallahu khairan kathira. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, I am Dr. Siti Alia Masjuki from the Department of Civil Engineering, would like to wish all of you our utmost appreciation and gratitude to have your presence here for the opening of the Iium Congress 2023. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the main objective of organizing this Congress is to provide an international technical forum for engineers, academicians, scientists, and researchers to present results of ongoing research in the field of mechanical, automotive, and aerospace engineering, computer and communication engineering, as well as in the field of chemical engineering and sustainability. Besides these three conferences, the Congress organizer also brings in another conference to provide a platform for discussion on the most pressing topics including ethics, recent innovations and technology, effective methodologies and assessment in the online teaching and learning. This Congress also has the objective of creating an effective medium for institutions and industries to share ideas and knowledge, exchange information, innovations, and problem-solving techniques. Altogether, more than 150 papers have been accepted from different countries. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us welcome Associate Professor Dr. Sani Izan Ihsan, Dean Kuliah of Engineering, cum Chairman of the IEC 2023, to deliver his welcoming speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President of the International Islamic University, Malaysia, Iium, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector of the Iium, Professor Dr. Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deputy Director, Academic and Internationalization, Iium, Excellencies, distinguished guests, keynote speakers, special mention also for Brother Ahmad Rafiq Ibrahim, one of our keynote speakers, who is also the industry mentor at the Kuliah of Engineering, and of course also our alumni. Participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome all participants to the Iium Engineering Congress 2023, organized by the Kuliah of Engineering. This year's Congress, in conjunction with the Iium 40th anniversary, features 4 conferences in various fields of engineering. These are the International Conference on Chemical Engineering and Sustainability 2023, the 6th International Conference on Mechanical, Automotive and Aerospace Engineering, the 9th International Conference on Computer and Communication Engineering, and the 6th International Conference on Engineering Professional Ethics and Education. I am pleased to note that for this year's Congress, we have 9 keynote speakers and nearly 200 technical papers that have been accepted for presentation. Participants are from various universities in Malaysia, as well as many countries across the globe, including Indonesia, Thailand, South Korea, Egypt, Oman, Bangladesh, China, Ecuador, Netherlands, New Zealand, Sudan, and Nigeria, just to name a few. The main objective of organizing this Congress is to provide a medium for institutions and industries to share ideas and knowledge, exchange information, and problem-solving techniques towards the betterment of human life and the world. With our tagline, "For Sustainable Future," the Kuliah strives to play our role, particularly in engineering and technology, for the betterment and sustainability of future mankind, society, and the world at large. This Congress would be a suitable avenue to share our knowledge and findings, besides providing opportunity to expand networking with colleagues from other institutions. We are honored to have expertise in many engineering areas participating in the conferences and look forward to establishing meaningful collaboration for mutual benefits. As a brief overview, the Kuliah of Engineering Iium started with 3 engineering programs in 1994. Today, we are very proud to have grown to include all branches of engineering, which are chemical, civil, electrical, and mechanical. The Kuliah is currently offering 8 undergraduate programs, which are aerospace, chemical, civil, electrical, and electronics, manufacturing, materials, mechanical, and mechatronics engineering, and master's and PhD programs in various specializations. With our Iium Sejahtera Academic Framework, we are excited to help shape the future engineers and leaders with comprehensive excellence, not only in academic, but also in personal characters, well-being, and global perspective that will actively contributing to the sustainable development of the world. Since the pandemic due to COVID-19 in 2020, we have actually managed to organize the Congress 2 times, but both in online mode due to the condition and restrictions. So for the first time, we decided to hold the Congress for this year in hybrid mode, where all sessions are available in both physical and online. This will provide an avenue for most of us that have been longing for a conference where we can meet and discuss face-to-face and make new friends. But at the same time, the online session will provide an opportunity for those far from us or unable to be physically with us for whatever reason to follow and participate in the sessions. We will try to provide as much similar experience as possible to the online participants. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt appreciation to our President, Honorable Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, for honoring our invitation to give his welcoming remark and officially open the Iium Engineering Congress 2023. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all parties that have directly and indirectly contributed towards the success of this auspicious event, to the sponsors for the generosity, and to the committed organizing committee and all staff of the Kuliah of Engineering for making this Congress a reality. Thank you very much for your participation, and we hope you will enjoy and benefit from the conference or from the conferences. Welcome again to Iium Engineering Congress 2023. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the pleasure of respectfully inviting Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman, President, International Islamic University Malaysia, to deliver his speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wa mursalin Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang bahagia Profesor Emeritus Tan Sri Dato' Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector Iium, Profesor Dr. Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deputy Rector, Academic Internationalization, Iium, Associate Professor Dr. Sani Izan Ihsan, Dean, Kuliah of Engineering, Chairman of the Iium Engineering Congress 2023, distinguished keynote speakers, sponsors, paper presenters, participants, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all participants of the Iium Engineering Congress 2023. This event marks a significant milestone in our academic journey as we come together to celebrate the remarkable achievements and advancement in the field of engineering. This year, the Iium Engineering Congress features 4 conferences in different fields of engineering, namely the 6th International Conference on Mechanical, Automotive and Aerospace Engineering, the 9th International Conference on Computer and Communication Engineering, the 6th International Conference on Engineering, Professional Ethics and Education, and the International Conference on Chemical Engineering and Sustainability. Today, as we gather under the theme, Engineering for a Sustainable Future, we are reminded of the critical role engineers play in shaping our world. The challenges we face as a global community are unprecedented, from climate change and resource scarcity to rapid urbanization and technological disruptions. These challenges demand innovative solutions and a concerted effort to create a sustainable future for generations to come. Distinguished guests, professors, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, at Iium, we have always recognized the importance of engineering in driving societal progress and addressing pressing global issues. Our engineering programs have consistently produced graduates who possess not only technical competence, but also a deep understanding of ethical responsibility and the need to contribute positively to society. As we embark on this Congress, I urge all participants to embrace the spirit of collaboration, exchange of ideas, and intellectual curiosity. This platform serves as an opportunity for us to engage in meaningful dialogue, challenge conventional thinking, and push the boundaries of knowledge. Let us seize this occasion to cultivate interdisciplinary partnerships, foster innovation, and explore new frontiers of engineering. Together, we can create a better world through our dedication to innovation, sustainability, and ethical engineering practices. I encourage each and every one of you to embrace the challenges that lie ahead, to push the boundaries of what is possible, and to remain committed to the pursuit of knowledge and excellence. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the organizing committee for their tireless efforts in putting together this exceptional Congress, IEC 23. Your dedication and commitment to fostering academic excellence and intellectual growth are truly commendable. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the faculty members, industry professionals, and guest speakers for gracing us with their presence and sharing their expertise. Distinguished guests, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby officially open the IIUM International Engineering Congress 2023.
Thank you, Tan Sri. We hope Tan Sri will remain
I wish
stand.
you all the best, especially the decisive success of the Congress, and hope you all have a pleasant conference for the next 2 days. Thank you all for your virtual presence and participation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Tan Sri. We hope Tan Sri will remain stand for the gimmick and launching ceremony. Thank you.
In the wake of an unprecedented pandemic, our world faced a crisis unlike any other. A crisis that would challenge our very foundations and reshape the way we connect and collaborate. As challenges emerged, the engineering community rose to the occasion, driven by the need to adapt. Slowly, a transformation began, a glimpse of a new era where innovation and resilience intersected. Hybrid solutions emerged as the conduit for connection, bridging gaps between physical and virtual realms. Today, at the International Islamic University, Malaysia Engineering Congress 2023, we proudly unveil the evolution we've undergone, embracing the hybrid model. We stand at the crossroads of change, equipped with technology and determination to forge a new path forward as screens connect us virtually. In conjunction with the 40th Iium anniversary, with its integrative pedagogy and curriculum, is hosting 4 parallel conferences. International Conference on Chemical Engineering and Sustainability, on Mechanical, Automotive and Aerospace Engineering, on Computer and Communication Engineering, and on Engineering Professional Ethics and Education. As the Congress unfolds, remember that from adversity springs progress, and from change emerges strength.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as a token of our deepest appreciation, I now have the pleasure of inviting Honorable Rector, accompanied by the Chairman of the Congress, to present a memento of appreciation to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman. Thank you, and please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our opening ceremony. On behalf of the organizing committee, we humbly apologize for any shortcomings and would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Samsudin Osman and our VIPs for the present this morning. Before we proceed for refreshment, I would like to announce that the keynote session by our Honorable Rector with the title Engineering Education and Ethics Towards Sustainable Society will begin at 4:15 a.m. in this hall. 10:15 a.m. in this hall. All are kindly invited to join this session. To all participants, please do not hesitate to contact the Secretariat if you need any assistance. Please scan the QR code to refer to the program book for the details of the Congress parallel sessions. I'm now inviting all the VIPs to the refreshment outside the hall. Thank you. Until then, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, okay. Yes, correct. Yes. Okay. So after the keynote or before? Okay, okay. Okay, we will do.
Testing 1 2 test ada. Test 1 2 testing ada. Testing 1 2 testing ada. Test 1 2 slow. Slow nggak? 1 2 3. Okay. Testing ada. Naik. Tu mic tu. Test 1.
Tak payahlah. Nanti saya mainkan. Dalam set kat audio lah kan? Bukan dia yang nak cakap kan? Kita boleh mainkan? Kak Iium boleh? Rector begini je kat dalam.
Testing, testing, 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Test. Test.
Sensitivity. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Ada.
We play the video first.
Testing, 1, 2. 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 Test, 1, 2. Okay. Boleh dapat? Ada.
Yang komputer tak ada. Abang ni ada.
Testing, 1, 1.
Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Nak gantung bila juga? Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Ada? Okay.
Okay.
Dia prefer ni kan atau dia nak gantung ya.
Ada yang tengok tu.
Ada yang katakan yang tadi link.
Testing mic 1 2. Test mic. Okay. Testing mic 1 2. Cubaan suara, cubaan suara. Testing mic. Testing mic 1. Testing mic 1 2. Cubaan suara. Cubaan suara.
Test, test. Test, test, test. The only one ya, tak ada lagi, tak ada lagi. Hah? Tes, 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 1, 2, 3. Testing. Tes. Oke. Oke. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I think we can start. We will start our session now, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excuse me. Can we have everyone to stop talking, please? And then we can start our session now, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Honorable Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Director of Iium, Professor Dr. Ahmad Faris Ismail, Deputy Rector Academic and Internationalization of Iium, Associate Professor Dr. Sani Izan Ihsan, the Dean of Kuliah of Engineering, come Chairman of the Iium Engineering Congress 2023, Chairman of the conferences, distinguished keynote speakers, sponsors and participants, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. It is my distinct privilege and honor to welcome all of you to the 6th International Conference on Engineering Professional Ethics and Education, or ICEPE 23. This year, ICEPE conference is co-organized by the Integrative Engineering Education and Ethics for Sustainability, or integrates under the Kuliah of Engineering, and Iium ISESCO. ICEPE is one of the 4 conferences that are running under the banner of Iium Engineering Congress 2023 that we have today and tomorrow, inshallah. And the theme for this year is Engineering Education and Ethics towards Sustainability, towards Sustainable Society. And this morning, alhamdulillah, we are very privileged to have with us a distinguished speaker who is not a stranger to most of us, if not all of us, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Zulkifli Abdul Razak, our esteemed rector. He will be delivering a keynote address on engineering education and ethics towards a sustainable society, post-pandemic paradigm change. This occasion is his 3rd consecutive year delivering a keynote address in ICEP conferences, which shows his keen support to the conference and its central topics in education, ethics, and sustainability. Before we invite him to embark on his eagerly awaited speech, allow me to highlight his distinct profile. Tan Sri Zulkifli Abdul Razak, or Tan Sri Zul, is currently the rector of the International Islamic University Malaysia. He was Vice Chancellor of University Science Malaysia from the year 2000 to 2011, and he is the 14th President of the International Association of Universities, a UNESCO-affiliated organization based in France. He was the convener of the Regional Center for Expertise on Education for Sustainable Development based in USM one of 7 pioneering centers worldwide beginning in 2005. Tan Sri Zul was awarded the prestigious 2017 Gilbert Medal in recognition of his long-term commitment to a sustainable approach to international higher education. He is a senior fellow of Academic Sciences Malaysia, and Tan Sri Zul was an honorary professor at the University of Nottingham from 2014 until August 2022. He is a member of the advisory board of the Right Livelihood College Steering Committee based at University of Bonn, and an advisory board member of Institute of Sustainable Development and Learning at Leuphana University of Lüneburg. And he was an invited speaker at the prestigious 2015 Nobel Dialogue in Sweden. Besides, Tan Sri is also a member of the UN Academic Network Development Dialogue, World Islamic Economic Forum, and National Digital Economy and Fourth Industrial Revolution Council. In February 2021, he was invited to serve as an expert for the Futures of Higher Education project at UNESCO's International Institute for Higher Education based in Caracas. Tan Sri Zul was awarded the 2017 Tokoh Akademi Negara or National Academic Laureate and a recipient of a number of honorary doctorates from various international universities. Locally in 2018, he was conferred Professor Emeritus by USM, whilst in November 2019, Iium conferred him an honorary doctorate of Da'wah and Islamic Management. In addition, the government of Japan, in recognition of his contribution to the academic collaboration and exchanges between the two nations, has conferred him the Order of Rising Sun, Gold Race with neck ribbon in September 2019. In mid-December 2021, he was conferred as an honorary doctorate of leadership in education by the University of Cyberjaya. Since 1995, Tan Sri Zul has written weekly columns for Malaysia's dailies, especially the New Straits Times. So I think everybody agrees that this is an impressive background of Tan Sri Zul that clearly makes him the right person to deliver the first keynote speech in both the IIUM Congress 2023 and the 6th ICEPE conference. And he will share with us his thoughts on education for sustainable development, which is a very pivotal point in education today, locally and globally. Okay, and we will have until 11:15 for this session. So Tan Sri Zul, inshallah, will deliver his speech until 11 a.m. and then we will have 15 minutes for the question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the stage our distinguished speaker, Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dato' Zulkifli Abdul Razak.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu syafil anbiya mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me first of all thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me this opportunity. I'm a little bit nervous. I've not done this for a long while because of the COVID. Normally we stay in our room, hide behind the computers and speak to hundreds of people around the world, but rarely a face-to-face kind of a mission like this. Anyway, I would want to first of all start with a confession. This elaborate, very generous CV, you probably do not hear the word engineer there. So to start off with, I'm not an engineer. So my presentation perhaps will be something quite different from your own sort of understanding, coming from an engineering background with a lot more engineering inputs as compared to mine. I'm a biologist in general, a pharmacologist, and therefore I want to understand this from a different dimension, which I hope will somehow or rather synergize between what I think and what you think, so that we can get a pathway of moving forward, especially after the pandemic, right? So I'm given this title, Engineering Education and Ethics towards Sustainable Society or Sustainable Development, but I'm going to talk more on what the pandemic has done to us. In other words, we know what sustainable development is all about, but what we are not very clear is what does it do after the pandemic? What has changed? what we want, what is it that we want to retain, and what that is it that we want to move forward. And I'm indeed very glad to see this Kuliah of Engineering now has got for sustainable future as a kind of a tagline. I think sustainability is something that we cannot avoid, because given the kind of impression we had, the development before this is not sustainable. And I think it is very clear when the pandemic comes in, so many things broke down. And one of the things that clearly broke down from my point of view is education. Otherwise, why do we need to close down our universities? Why do we go through all the rigmaroles that we have prepared for many, many, many decades? We even declared world-class universities. You know, everybody wants to be a world-class university. Even the world-class university closed down. So how world-class can you get? And not only from one world-class university, several world-class universities around the world do close down. So what is this world-class means when we talk about sustainability? Is this world-class cliche something that we need to go for? I think these are the things that I think I want to get into. Yeah. Just to also mention the credibility of this university, some of the accolades that we have got, I think in the last number of years, we have been recognized by United Nations University on sustainability. I just want to mention that to you because you may be asking, who is he to talk about sustainability to us? You know, United Nations University has given us this accolade as a regional center for sustainability. So we are allowed to construct what we see sustainability is in our context, not in the American context, not in the European context, not in other contexts, in our context, because contextualization is one of the most important ideas of what sustainability is all about. And I think many people got this wrong. So when we talk about sustainability, we will look at which other country is successful in this and try to impose it over us without understanding that our context and their contexts are quite different. Simple example. Yeah. United States of America, they may call themselves sustainable, but the footprint of United States of America is for 5 planets. In other words, they're using resources of 5 planets to be what they are now. So if you want to follow the American models, where do we get the 5 planets from? Unless you invade another country, exploit another group of people, and that is already not sustainable. Now, these are issues that I think we need to come to terms. The European, they live on a footprint of 3 planets. Between the Americans and the European alone, there's 8 planets in excess that they've taken for themselves. And therefore, many developing worlds, including the Muslim worlds, may have got half a planet, quarter a planet, and sometimes no planets at all. And we remain unsustainable. We remain a beggar to all this group of people. These are the big issues that we in education must help to solve. How do we equalize the distribution of these resources around the world so that we all have got equal opportunity to survive, not being dependent of one another? So those are the issues that I think that we are now articulating as far as United Nations is concerned, as far as UNESCO is concerned. And alhamdulillah, we also been given the chair for the future studies. Yeah? The co-chair is Professor Faris, so that we can also now predict the future. What is it that we want to do if we want to equalize and make things more equitable as far as the world is concerned? So I'm going to go along those lines and see how far we can get given the 45 minutes that I am given. And it's normally doesn't work. It's technology. What happened? You don't want to see me again. Yang ini kan, yang this one kan, this button. Oh, can I just go there and push that button?
Is it good?
It's up more there. There is no one slide before this. One slide before this. One slide before this. Patah balik. Okay. 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 Boleh. So my talk will be more on graphic because I am not a textual person. Yeah? I'm a right brain in a way. I like graphics more than text. I cannot read text very well. So these are the ideas. I'm trying to understand what are the issues that we are talking today. When you talk about education, when you talk about ethics, how do we equalize the distribution of resources around the world so that we all have got equal opportunity to survive, not being dependent of one another? So those are the issues that I think that we are now articulating as far as United Nations is concerned, as far as UNESCO is concerned. And alhamdulillah, we also been given the chair for the future studies. Yeah? The co-chair is Professor Faris, so that we can also now predict the future. What is it that we want to do if we want to equalize and make things more equitable as far as the world is concerned? So I'm going to go along those lines and see how far we can get given the 45 minutes that I am given. into sustainable future. What I understand is basically the aspiration moving forward. Yeah? Regardless of what we are, who we are, I think all of us want to cross this bridge from the past to the future. And that's what the university is all about. And that's why we are here. Everybody who comes here and say, they make sure that they have a future that they can guarantee on. And therefore, whatever that they need to do is something that we want to actually fit them in so that they can be more agile into getting into the future. All right. So as an engineer, they would imagine what an engineer looks like, you know, working civil, mechanical, there's more than one of these things. Yeah, I think you can imagine, or they can imagine what they want to be, but underlying is all about livelihood. I want to be an engineer because I want to have a good livelihood. I think that's probably the underlying assumptions. Why do I want to be an engineer? Not because I want to build a sustainable society. That probably will come later, if at all. First of all, I want to build something because I want to earn an income and I want to have a good living and so on and so forth. And therefore, the question of sustainability may not even cross your mind. Sometimes we build a bridge and we pollute the water, we make our money, and there you are. You already sacrificed one sort of natural waterway, as it were. So this is something that I am very worried about because I went through my education because of that. I want to be this because you can earn an income and you can live comfortably. The rest becomes second, right? But as you move into the future, you see that many things now has coming into what we thought a simple livelihood. We need to know networking. We need to know, as far as technology is concerned, how do technology influence not only your life, but the life of other people. But yet, these are not issues that we take on very seriously. We're just discussing this morning when we talk about these handphones. When you ask our children, how many of them understand the handphones? A simple question is, how do you dispose your handphone when you don't want to use it? I think most of us will not have a good answer, not knowing that there are a lot of toxic materials in the handphone. If you just discard it somewhere as you think it is, then you probably be polluting something somewhere around the world. So those are issues that I think is quite basic to me. We want to go into the moon, all right? But sometimes I also ask myself, we go to the moon, but the problem on the earth, we have not solved it. Why do you want to go to the moon when your own, I mean, you cannot imagine that you want to go somewhere else when your house is not in order. Yeah. How do you put our house in order? Because we spend millions of dollars. I remember the space group of people, you have now to pay what? 600 millions to go in to experience the anti-gravity thing. And then for half a day, then you come back and that's it. And that money could be used for something else or somewhere else. So the whole notion of where we take science and how we use science is a question that I think has something to do with the aspiration of education. And I think that's the thing that we need to put right in the first place. Yeah? But before we start to think about it, I think God has given us a very aptly reminder, and they create some disruption for us. This is your world today, right? But as you can see now, that world today now is not a simple world. When there's disruption, suddenly we find there's many things that we learn, or we think we learn, we cannot apply them, right? Why? Because of the disruption. In our case, there's no mobility, there is no a connection. There are many things that we assume that it was there, but suddenly within a period of time, it stops. And we do not know how to handle it. And this we are talking about a country that is fairly developed. A country that is not developed at all, they will be finished. Right? And the other dimension that we begin to see, and at least we begin to see, is we do not know who we are. And therefore, the question of suicide, the question of mental health, the question that is not related to technology becomes dominant in our life. You've got a handphone, but you cannot connect, right? And suddenly your world becomes, a collapsing world. You do not know what to do with this because your handphone is no longer working. There's no connectivity. And these are issues that I think we need to come back to. Technology is important, but what else is important just before that, right? And then we have got these other things called the vaccines. This is again a technological thing, partly engineering also involved at the same time. How many people needs to have booster? Now, after doing all this, there are reports by saying that these boosters that we are using actually is not necessary. Right? And the politics of vaccines, we talk about vaccines appetite, we talk about vaccines exploitation, we talk about vaccines, discrimination. All this comes into the picture, and this is where I think our science needs to be re-looked again as far as that is concerned. So this is a disruption that gives us time to sit on the bridge before we go to the future. Let's think, where are we going to get? What is it that we want to do? What is important now that needs to be discarded, and what is it that we need to plan for the future as such? And the future is no longer the kind of livelihood that we talked about. I may have a lot of money, but if I'm locked down, my money is useless. Yeah, I've got a lot of money, but I cannot buy stuff, then my money is useless. I would rather think that if I can eat my money, that's better. You know, you can make some edible money, maybe. Yeah, when there's a shutdown, you can eat your money, that's okay. But these are the things that I think we begin to think about. Then money does not become the end all and be all as far as our lives is concerned. And how do you shift from this idea of just livelihood and talk about what life is all about? And this is where this university, I think, is a very unique university that we talk about the betterment of human life and civilization as our goal. It's not just making money, but how do you upgrade lives of everybody in the context of Rahmatan lil Alamin? And I think this university has got it right, but how do you put in place is a question that all of us need to understand. So we need to maybe relook at what engineering is all about in a local context, yeah, and start to think of these are the issues about unemployment, about many things that the statistics tells you that it is not tenable anymore. If we just talk about the tangible, the new ideas are coming in. We begin to talk about engineering education, or all education for that matter, in terms of equity. Do education actually level society? If I become an engineer today, can I break out of poverty? Can I make my life and my family and my society better? Or it's just for me alone, right? So the question of equity, the question of Rahmatan lil Alamin that we used to talk in university becomes a key issue. What sort of distribution of knowledge can we give? How much of it we can contribute back to the community that we depend on for a long time? Or are they not important at all? And this is where the changes that's going to be inculcated into the education that we talked about. Yeah? And to do that, we need to be transdisciplinary. In other words, you cannot just understand engineering and try to serve the world if you do not understand what human being is all about. So the question of humanity, the question of social science, the question of religious knowledge, again, this university is well structured. We've got revealed knowledge and reasons. How do you put this together so that your engineering can be understood within that kind of a dimension? Yeah? Not only dominant knowledge, also indigenous knowledge. When you talk about engineering, what sort of tradition that we need to preserve in terms of constructing a building, for example. This building, this room alone, to me is kind of ridiculous because we've got a nice sun outside. Here we close everything out, and then we switch on the lights. And then we complain that it's costly and it's not sustainable. But we built this. And how to deconstruct this will cost you more money. But the idea of what sustainability is all about in terms of preservation or conservation of energy is already not there. Now we wear something like that and we put on the aircon. And then we complain the bill is so high. Yeah. So the whole idea of architecture, and when you go back to indigenous knowledge, you find that most of the construct, if I know, they are all cross ventilation. Yeah, no air conditioning. There's no need for air conditioning because we are constructing a space that is already self-ventilating, as it were. These are ideas that I think we need to come back when we talk about transdisciplinarity. Yeah, we talk about inclusivity. Means I've mentioned this. Where can we get everybody involved? Not just us in the university, we are lucky to be in university, but people who do not get into university. Again, this university is about that. How do you bring these people from war-torn countries to experience what university is all about? The experience of Bosnia is a fantastic experience. Now we are trying to do this with the Rohingyas, getting them in, giving them the knowledge that they need so that they can go back and make their life better in their own hometown or in your home country, rather than sticking around in other people's country and living their place unattended, right? And finally, I've talked about indigeneity, in other words, indigenous knowledge. There's a lot more wisdom. As we move into this curriculum with the community, we begin to understand that there's a lot more wisdom in the rural areas, in the jungle, as it were, because these are the wisdom that has not been taken over by modernity as such. So that is a lesson that I learned from when we talk about this disruption. How do you use this as a kind of a positive insight moving forward? So the reality to me now, as we reconstruct this, it will be the reality that talks about something that we have seen, but we have ignored it for a long time. Pollution, for example. All right, we'll talk about a little bit. Not only pollution on the ground, but also pollution underwater. This is new. With the plastics coming in, this is new. Microplastic and so on and so forth. This is new. But this is not a problem that we attend to, because we think we are untouched by this particular problem. Yeah. And very, very recently, you find that this demonstration is more frequently now. Flooding and all those other disasters that we see infrequently before, now it also happens almost every day. One teacher was complaining to me, it's difficult to write an exams now. They say, if they ask when is the monsoon period, it used to be, from May to June. Now the students can say every day, and they're still right. There's no longer a monsoon period that you can say between these 2 months are monsoon. Every day is a monsoon. You never know when it's going to rain tomorrow, and it will rain like cats and dogs, almost like a monsoon period. So all these other sciences that we talked about are beginning to change because of the reality that we tend to ignore the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We talked about the surah that was read today, was very apt thing as far as this concept. Yeah. And I want to work on this. So now at the end of the day, people are beginning to talk about conventional development, which is the unsustainable one, yeah, of economic growth. They always talk about growth of economies. Everything must grow up. Yeah? And prosperity driven by industrialization and commercialization is where technology and engineering comes in, is now recognized to be toxic to humanity and the planet. If you have been contributing to this, how much damage have we done to humanity and the planet? That has not been calculated. You want to talk about livelihood, fine, right? But what is the cost on the environment and human lives? We have not calculated that. And I think this is time that we need to now begin to see the things that we do, we think is progress, but how much of this progress actually contribute and how much of it is not. That, I think, is a key question that I want to dwell on. And therefore, the measure of success should be different. Yeah, you've got maybe very high 4-digit salary or something like that. Yeah, but what does it do to the environment is a question that all of us needs also to reflect at the same time. And this is where I want to go back and understand the key question that all of us have been talking about, this fourth industrial revolution. Many people will talk about the fourth industrial revolution, will talk about this cyber-physical system, right? Little do they realize that it is just one episode of the many industrial revolution. You cannot understand this before you can understand this. It is a continuum. You can never get the fourth industrial revolution without the third, without the second, and without the first. No electricity, no fourth industrial revolution. With electricity, no computerization, no fourth industrial revolution. But yet, when we talk about fourth industrial, as though everybody in Malaysia will have this. You remember during the pandemic, some of our friends in Sabah needs to climb a tree to get connectivity. Yeah, that is second industrial revolution. Where is the fourth industrial revolution? So in other words, the distribution of technology itself is a problem. But most of us don't care, as long as we got what we need, right? The 60% of the people who do not have electricity, don't talk to them about fourth industrial revolution. You're lucky if they can have a computer and the computer is connected somewhere. So understanding the fourth industrial revolution must understand all this. And all these are not just positive stuff. When we talk about the first industrial revolution, that was the first time when we introduced massive pollution. Before that, during the agricultural era, there's no pollution as massive as this. We go into mass production with electricity, more pollution, right? And you think pollution is okay, then we begin to control pollution and we talk about clean technology. And then the pollution goes into you. You have loneliness, you have suicide, you have all the other things. Despite the clean environment, yeah, now you cannot hide. At least when there's pollution, you can go in a room and lock yourself up and you don't have to breathe that dirty air. But here, when it goes right into your own personality, you can lock yourself up in the room. It makes you even more vulnerable. And the equation has changed. And we still do not get it. Yeah, and we still talk about this as though it's a solution for tomorrow. Until God says enough is enough, I'll give you the pandemic. Think about it. All right? And even then, at that point, some people even refuse to think about it. Yeah. So we are beginning now to talk about how to liberate ourselves from this pollution from outside. Yeah. How do you actually move out from the lockdown situation? The lockdown may be physical, but probably it's happening all the time. You're always locked down because of some reasons, one way or another, disparity, poverty, and so on and so forth. How do you bring justice back to education? These are the final questions that we do not ask our students, neither do we ask ourselves, nor the ministry are sensitive to this. We in the university must be sensitive to this. I just want to give you a notion, if you were to be there during that time. This is the first industrial revolution. Look at the kind of smoke that you let out. This is one train. And we have got now this global warming, climate change. It is a 300-year-old problem that we have started, that we do not know, or actually we underestimate the kind of things that happen. That's the kind of pollution that we've got. And it's until now, this pollution comes on. Yeah. And then if that's not enough, we built the second industrial revolution. More smokes from many industries, right? And if it's not enough, we bring all sorts of other chemicals. We talk about acid rain and so on and so forth, polluting even worse than what the first industrial revolution is all about. Okay? Okay, so we're going to close this down. We have all sorts of laws and rules and regulations to control it. We go into clean industry. This is how the clean industry looks like. Yeah, everybody is wearing nice things so that they look clean, very hygienic and so on and so forth. But look what they do. And these are almost like us, these are all us. These are the lecturers and working on the students, and these are the students that goes out. Almost lifeless, they all look the same, they don't have this creativity because we are manufacturing them as an assembly line. And we call them products at the end of the day to be marketed. These are all to be marketed. So when we don't perform marketability, the ministry will shout at me and say, your marketability is down. So then we adjust our marketability and say people who drive Grabs are okay. So we tick. Suddenly our marketability becomes 90%. And the ministry are happy. And we are actually cheating ourselves. And this is where I think the university needs to make a difference. In our case, marketability is not this. It's not this kind of menial job that has no life into it. What about the betterment of human life and education? Yeah? I'm a little bit loud on this. Yeah? And then how to bring back justice in this particular context. I'm quoting the same thing back. You are producing this toxicity for humanity and planet as far as it's concerned. So, like it or not, together with the technological revolution, there must be a social revolution. A social revolution is about us. It's about talking about what is the relationship between people, power and profit. Yeah, not only power and profit, people are not. We just finished our election. Yeah, I won't go into this, But that's exactly the equation of people, power, and profit. I hope the people won in that election, not profit and power. All right? Otherwise, we're stuck with the old problem. And we are the one that we're supposed to mend this, right? We talk about power to the people now needs to talk about what they want. Yeah? Tak cukup makan lah, tak cukup connectivity lah, whatever problem that the people have got. Despite the technological advances, Starlink ke benda je ke, does that solve the problems of people punya food on the table? If it does not, then Starlink needs to produce food rather than just, activities of that nature. But these are issues that I think we need to transit now. Technology is important. I'm not against technology, but where is the humanizing part of technology as far as that's concerned? I'll move a little bit faster because I think we will be running short of time. So let's revisit this valley. At the end of the day, now we know all these other factors that we need to put in, all right? And the probability of people getting unemployed now is higher, not like before. Jobs are scarce. If there is job, again, the different kind of requirement for that jobs, because you're moving into a different world. Are we prepared for that? Yeah, this question becomes an important question, and this is our SAF is an important document as far as I'm concerned. Then the future will be, sorry. Technology more go. Anyway. So when the technology does not function, our life stops. Just press the button, then I can talk about it and we can work on it. So we need now to understand where the future is. And I hope this is a conference that will tell us where do you want the future to be. Okay? One more.
Next one.
Or two more.
Next one.
Okay. Boleh. No, dia dah lepas. Okay. Now, where is the future? I think the question that we need to ask, and I think you know what this VUCA is all about, volatile, uncertain, ambitious, and whatever it is complex. Yeah? How do you work this through within this technology? So that at the end of the day, we understand what leadership that we need to play. In other words, this university, bagi saya lah, all university must play a leadership role. Ministry is one thing, but we are also another thing. There are a lot more PhDs here than in the ministry. Then why do you need to listen to the ministry without engaging? To me, that is not just. Yeah. Even myself, I will listen to you more than I will listen to anybody because you are the engineers. You know the experts. Yeah. Sometimes your world is very much black and white. Mine is gray halfway through. So how do you transact this and how do you make it happen? And we need to have this engagement, right? So as I go through and say, macam mana engineer ni berfikir, I got this very nice from IEEE. Yeah, and I like the word they got, advancing technology for humanity. Is our technology advancing for humanity, or economy, or politics, or whatever else? Yeah, and they've got a nice way of thinking. How do they commit to diversity, equity, inclusion? The same things that we're talking about. We're talking about the same language, but is it practiced on the ground? It's a question that we need to ask, right? So this is where I begin to introduce this whole idea of education for sustainable development. We need to do education, but for what? For sustainable development. Not for economic alone, not for political power, not for livelihood, not for fun, not for fame, not for anything, but for sustainable development. And what is sustainable development? Sustainable development, from my point of view, is more than just STEM. Everybody understands what STEM is all about. It's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Yeah, this engineering. Bukan ke science dan teknologi itu engineering. At least partly. Yeah. Bukan ke engineering itu ada mathematics. Why do you need to repeat this 3 or 4 times? Macam ni itu bodoh sangat. Yeah. So I don't quite agree with STEM. Because when kata STEM, macamnya kata engineering, then you need to work on goal number 9. Goal number 9 talks about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. There you are. Everything must be industry related. Nothing wrong with that. But what about the community? Do you need this at the same time? The community that is also part and parcel of our responsibility. Yeah. And by the way, when pandemic comes, the first thing that closed down is industry. Industry kata we close down now, we have no money, no profit and stuff like that. We don't want to take the students anymore, despite the MOU that we signed. They bailed out. Yeah. So I want to change this idea of what STEM is all about. And STEM says one is about this industrial thing, which is partly right, but it's not totally right. But there are other things. So go S2 about clean water and sanitation. Technology 2 is about number 11 is about sustainable cities and communities. Yeah, I think it's sustainable communities and cities, because cities is a subset of community, not the other way around. And we have got also the last one is about renewable energy. All right. So these are the 4 things when you talk about STEM. When you talk about sustainable development, they focus on these four ideas. But when actually there are other ideas that we need to look at. There are 17 of them. So who talks about poverty? Who talks about hunger? Who talks about gender equity? Who talks about species on land, species underwater? Who talks about climate change? If you just confine yourself to STEM, and therefore we need to go broader, and this is where I think sustainable development goals is important. I'm very happy because I want to repeat this. When I came first time in Iium, the first kuliah I visited is engineering. The ex-decan is here. Yeah. So when I talk about this, they are already advanced into this, except that it is not expressed. Maybe it's not the language of the university then. Yeah, you're already advanced in it, and that's why putting sustainable future in that, I think, is apt. So the sustainable development goal are the 17. In other words, we want to connect as many of the 17 goals as possible, and that is where it is important. And to connect that, you must move away from STEM. So I want to introduce these arts. So in other words, when we talk about culture, habits, norms, values, these are arts. These are the ethics that we talk about. And it's not in STEM, or it's not in STEM, sorry. Yeah. So we put arts there and we call it STEAM rather than STEM. And I also want to venture, maybe we can put another one. We can put religion. And we call it STREAM. We still have science, we still have technology, but we are guided by religion. We are guided by the arts, which is the cultural dimension. And maybe mathematics, we need to share it with another dimension, which I call management. You need to manage all this. If we don't know how to manage all this, then it will still not happen. So our idea, or at least my idea, when we talk about sustainable development in the context of engineering, we want to talk about STEAM or STEAM less STEM. STEM will not be sacrificed, but STEM is added on by other values at the same time. All right. And then we can talk about the thing that we want to talk about, given that new dimension, as it were. And that new dimension actually is the outcome of sustainable development goals. So you talk about engineering education and sustainable development goal, it must have these 5 components. Is there partnership with not just with society, but the community and industry at the same time? Does it ensure equitable prosperity? The inclusiveness that we talked about. Are you sure that human beings are also taken into consideration, not just the technology? All right. Does it guarantee the planet that we are living in is going to be a peaceful, balanced, harmonious planet? At the end of the day, can we get peace out of this? I think that's the ultimate goal. Can we live peacefully with all these other things that we are putting in the education, be it engineering or other things, right? And if you read this book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution that we talked about, I wonder how many of you read this book? Yeah, from cover to cover. Kalau you baca this book, the author talks about this. The Fourth Industrial Revolution, dia kata, will affect the very essence of human experience. So whatever experience you've got, the technology will modify. Will make it good, will make it better, depending on what sort of human you are. But where is this discussed in our midst? And this is where ethics becomes important. Yeah? To make it worse, the late Stephen Hawking talks about the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Already, I'm beginning to believe in this. When you talk about ChatGPT and all those things that's coming in, we will probably be wiped out if we are not very well into handling what AI is all about. Yeah. So in my little way, we try to respond to this by looking at, are you concerned about the increase of artificial intelligence? And the answer I like. You have to know, but I'm concerned about the decrease in real intelligence. To me, that reads fitra. Yeah. The real intelligence that God gives us, I think the surah this morning says also, yeah, the divine inspiration within us. How many millions do we invest into this as compared to AI? To make sure that the real, the premier, the fitra, that is also developed together in tandem with artificial intelligence, the spirituality and so on and so forth. That is what I think we need to look into as far as this is concerned. So in my little way, I try to respond to this, and I say these are the dilemma that we need to go to. You know, a book when I was in Iium that we wrote this, when we were discussing about it. And what is it that we talk about? We want to talk about the balance between technology and people. The balance between the heart of technology and the heart of the human being. Yeah? We want to talk about technology versus human centricity. Technology is fine, but where's the human being that will mitigate and balance it? We want to talk about the high tech and high touch. Again, the question of values, the question of intangible. We want to talk about what is new and what will be left behind. The renewed sort of normalcy, as it were. Yeah? So that no one is left behind. So at the end of the day, humanity and planet that is now considered toxic will be recovered. At the end of the day, we need to do this by humanizing leadership. And this is a question that we asked, right?
Excuse me, Tan Sri. We are at 11:04 now.
Okay, I'll stop in 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
So
Really
now
sorry.
with the AI coming into being, the question becomes even more pressing. Where do we need to actually move forward, engineering or otherwise? Yeah. Kalau tidak, we'll get stuck at the end of the day. So we don't have to study very much. We need to just submit our question to the ChatGPT, and whatever that comes out, that will be our answer. Yeah, we retire as far as that the thinking process is concerned. So I want to end up with this. At the end of the day, if you are not sure, the education, the ethics that you talked about will be moved into this area. Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit just now. What is the new area? The new area, I think all of us know, where human being and technology coexist. Yeah? And if you think this is a theory, this is not. It is already happening. Go and Google what we call transhumanism. So there are a group of people who profess they're transhumanists and they want to live on this triple S civilization. Super intelligence, super longevity, super happiness. That is their purpose in life. All right. And how they achieved it is something that all of us can argue about. See, they talk about, for example, now, the heart can pump, forever and ever, using these enhancements of technology and so on and so forth, which I think is possible. There are some people who can live now without the heart. They got a mechanical heart to sustain them. Yeah. But what about the soul? What about that real intelligence that we talked about? What about the fitra? What about the premier intelligence? Who provides for this? How do you safeguard this? Or are we going to create another set of human person that is soulless? Yeah? And dalam discussion there, I remember this, it hits me very hard. They say the transhumanists are more powerful than God. That's a kind of statement that you will read. And now it's a statement that they profess. I think two decades from now, when the transhumanist is supposed to be out in 2050, apparently, then you will see these people. How do you interact with these people? Have we done this research? Have we actually learned how to actually deal with them and other species around us? These are issues yang saya rasakan penting that we want to see. Human AI will be impossible to control. There are many arguments on this now, but these are the issues that I think we need to look at. Yeah? So my last slide is probably this, right? As the AI moves up on an exponential rate, our human minds goes only very, very linear. And we're going to create the superhuman, the posthuman, the transhuman, whatever you want to call it. I want to bring this notion of we are spiritual natives. We are not digital natives. Again, perkataan ini dipakai. All of us are digital natives apparently. Yeah, maknanya we are already born into AI. And the last what do you call article that I read, Bill Gates dengan Steve Jobs, anaknya tak dapat AI ataupun tak dapat device until the age of 11. Our kids, they are born with a handphone, man. You know, you see parents eating in a restaurant nicely, anaknya tengok umur 3 tahun. Why do Bill Gates and anaknya Steve Jobs don't use handphone at a very early age? Dia kata we want to create their creative mind before they go into technology. We don't get that message. So kita 5G and 6G and forcing it onto our school and students. Is this something that we want to do? Seriously, right? And then we become this spiritual natives, and this is where I think we need to now talk about it in a different language. Instead of STEM, we talk about STEAM or STREAM, so that we bring the humanity part of it. As we develop the technology, we also develop the humankind at the same time. Okay? So I think I'll stop there. We'll talk about this later. Maybe there's a question, we will refer to this. So I hope I get my message right. When engineering education is important, but it has to be quote unquote shaped into a paradigm that we do not lose our humanity, that we don't lose our own spirituality. Yeah, and that's why the SDG 18 for this university is important. So we keep reminding ourselves that we have got other mission to accomplish, inshallah. But thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Tan Sri Rector, for the enlightening and thought-provoking talk. I'm really sorry that I had to remind you about the time earlier. And to make use the best of our time, that we still have 5 minutes, unfortunately. Only.
5 minutes, that's all.
Let's just start with the question and answer. Both the participants in this hall and also online can raise the question. Anyone's got any question in the room?
Anybody, any question? Especially the students, because you are the next generation who will navigate this through. People like me will probably kick the bucket.
Anyone? Okay, Prof. Ma'an, we start. First question.
It's just a matter of can we do it? This is the question. We have a lot of challenges coming in. Economy is always the first item on the table when we discuss about whatever technology we're coming out with. We sit with industry, they will always talk about how much money we can make out of this. Now the universities are playing an important role in bringing these ideas to reality. But again, at the universities also, we have the challenges. We are also caught with all this circle of economy as well. I want to live, I want to get my salary, and I have my own other duties and responsibilities. Sometimes we start to do things conventionally, even like teaching and learning. It becomes dry. It's like just, I have a knowledge, I'm transferring it to the others. And looking at the other side of the world, you mentioned about US at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and so on. As much as they talk about sustainability, but the action on the ground is not really reflecting what they are claiming and what they are promoting and what sometimes they are pushing others to do. it's kind of a very, like in engineering, we call it complex engineering problem. Yeah, how do we try? I mean, how do we handle all these challenges together? Thank you.
Thank you. I think for me, if I can talk on behalf of this university, I've been here only for 5 years. But I think the university has got tremendous leadership potential. But we must have the courage to make the change. In other words, when people say do something, we really need to think about it. What is it that is going to affect us? For example, I'm against this ranking business. Right? Not because I don't like to be ranked, but the ranking business redefines us. Misalnya, here we want to come into the university, you need to know Al-Quran, you need to know this and that. And in many of these ranking things does not take this into consideration. So you've got a 4 flat students, but could not read the Al-Quran. Will you take them in? I will probably not. I will probably go for 3.75, but if you can read the Quran better. So I'm not going to what you are asking me to do because I've got another mission to state. And I'm not ranked and I don't care. So we need to start writing the rules. And I want to re-emphasize this. We need to start to rewrite the rules of what we think the university ought to be doing from the Islamic perspective, or maybe the humanity perspective. There's no difference between the two. And until we take this charge and say, this is what we want to do and stick to it and prove to them that it works, we will not change. Worst case, we will probably be, we have another ranking that looks Islamic, but basically it is not. So that is a charge that I hope that we can deliver after 40 years of our existence. The next move is to rewrite the rules given whatever experience we've got. If we can do that together under whatever activities that we're beginning to start off with, For example, now we are trying to redefine what the university is all about. And we have talked to the ministry about this and they have agreed, let's redefine what the university is all about. Is this just about employment, employability, about ranking, about numbers, or is it about people? And how do you translate this into paper? How do you put this into practice? And that's why the community engagement becomes an important thing for us. We have changed our tagline. Ini kita kata ni an internationally award-winning institution. Now we have changed it. An international multi-award winning institution. We keep on getting it. Not that the award is important, but just to emphasize to us that we can do something right that other world will recognize, Muslim or non-Muslims. So we are not just a player, we are also a leader at the same time. We are also shaping the future at the same time, inshallah. Take that into your heart, and I think your Kuliah of Engineering hopefully will be one of the pioneering ones for sustainable development. So thank you very much once again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
There will be some token to be presented. Thank you very much again, Tan Sri Zul, for the enlightening and thought-provoking talk. And unfortunately, we are very short of time, so because we are restricted with the next session that we have. And invite Associate Professor Sani Izan Ihsan, the Dean of Kuliah of Engineering and the Chairman of the Iium Engineering Congress, to come to the stand to present. Tan Sri Zul, inshallah. Thank you, Dr. Sani, for presenting the token. And again, thank you very much again, Tan Sri Rector, for the talk that you've given to us. Okay, thank you. All right, okay, so following the session, we kindly request all participants to follow the instructions provided by their respective conference committees regarding the venue and the timing of the upcoming sessions. And for those participating in ICEPE, we kindly request you to access the Zoom room using the link that has been shared on the Telegram group in preparation for the second keynote speech session that will start at 11:45, inshallah. With that, we end this keynote speech session. I hope all of you will enjoy and benefit from the IIM Congress 2023. Thank you. Jazakumullah khairan katsira. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Attention to all International Conference on Computer and Communication Engineering ICCE participants. Our first keynote session will start at 11:30 here in this hall. Thank you.